Let's talk. The Black Lives Matter movement isn't about police brutality. Well, not primarily. It's about bringing awareness and justice to a network of systems that we so often ignore are unjust. This is part 2 of a new conversation about the Black Lives Matter movement. Police brutality is defined as a civil rights violation where law enforcement officers exercise undue or excessive force against a subject. This includes, but is not limited to, bullying, physical or verbal harassment, physical or mental injury, property damage, and death. Police brutality has become one of the most visual representation of injustice. To be clear, not all cops are bad. Not all cops exercise brutality. But some of them are, and some of them do. And when they do, it hurts thrice. 1, the actual pain experienced by the victim of brutality. 2, the contradiction of someone who has sworn an oath to protect and serve, violating civil rights. And 3, the emotional anxiety others feel when they think, that could have been me. That could have been my child. That could have been my friend. But the problem isn't police brutality. The problem is so much larger than that. Police brutality is one of the many symptoms of the problem. Similarly, the problem isn't fatherless families, the problem isn't bad inner city schools, the problem isn't housing. All of these are symptoms of the problem. These symptoms are so vast and so many that they become the very fabric of our everyday lives. The problem lies in our individual and collective psychology. Look at these 3 photos. What race are these men? Yes, I know it seems an obvious question. Have you noticed that race seems to be one of the most obvious and easily differentiated characteristics of humanity? Right up there with gender and hair color. The races we have identified in the United States, according to the Census 2020, are white, African American, Asian, Native American, and Pacific Islander. Given the options for race, it seems pretty clear that these men are all African American. Well, here's something that you may not have known. There's actually no genetic marker that indicates race. None. Now, people often think that you can look at a collection of traits like hair color, skin color, hair texture, etc., and identify race. Let's explore that idea. These men with a race we determine to be African American are not African American. In fact, there's not a single one of them that's American at all. The first one, that's a French singer. The second one is from South Africa. And the third, well, that's Pelé from Brazil, arguably one of the greatest soccer players in history. Here's the thing. It may feel like we got tripped up on a technicality here, and that's because we did. Race, the label that we assign to people so automatically, is a technicality. It's simply a method for categorizing people. And as I explained in chapter 6 of my book, The Cure for Stupidity, we humans have a natural tendency to identify patterns so that we can make clean categories. While categorization is not inherently a bad thing, it's actually a process to accelerate cognition. It can lead to some severe outcomes. Categories of division around religion, national origin, skin color, and gender have been the root of wars and genocide across human history. In the United States, over the past 400 years, we have developed and reinforced deep beliefs that Black people are less intelligent, more athletic, have worse work ethic, and are less artistic, and are more likely to commit crimes, feel less pain, and are more threatening. Oh, and more likely to be on welfare. Now, if we understand that there is not actually genetic or biological determination for race, then how can any of these beliefs be true? They're not. What is the impact of these beliefs over time? Well, according to the American Medical Association Journal of Ethics, because of the misconceptions about African Americans feeling less pain, doctors are less likely to offer any pain medication or lower doses of pain medication to Black patients compared to white patients, despite Black patients reporting higher pain scores. African American patients have their pain needs met less frequently in hospice care. African American patients are more likely to wait longer to receive pain medication in the emergency room. African American veterans with arthritis receive fewer days' supply of medication than white veterans do. The most detrimental effect of these erroneous beliefs is that we have a tendency to validate our own beliefs. We look for evidence to confirm that which we already believe. This is a natural tendency that psychologists call confirmation bias. If we believe that Black men are more threatening, and we see an image on the news of a Black man's mugshot, boom, reinforcement. Interestingly, if the same crime was reported on the news and the mugshot was a white man, it would not have the same effect. If we believe that black women are more likely to be on welfare and find a sliver of evidence of the affirmative, it reinforces our belief, which makes our belief stronger. Over time, our beliefs stop becoming beliefs and start becoming facts. Instead of, I believe it to be this way, we transform it to, it is this way. Now, if race is the foundation for these beliefs turned into facts, and race doesn't exist genetically or biologically, is it possible that wealth inequality, neighborhood segregation, and educational attainment are not caused by race? But rather, what if wealth inequality, neighborhood segregation, and educational attainment are results of the deeply held beliefs about race? The problem that actually needs to be resolved is the beliefs turn into facts that devalue the lives of black people. Don't forget, Black Lives Matter too. We all need to recognize that these beliefs can make the lives of black people much more difficult than they need to be. Don't forget, Black Lives Matter too. We need to understand that race has been used as division to make black lives a they, which makes skipping over empathy so much easier. Don't forget, Black Lives Matter too. Be the good.